Brian, one of the questions that was always on business owners' lips is, what's my business worth? Do you think that's a useful metric when choosing an advisor? And did you have the business valued, as it were?
There are different ways of valuing a business. An M&A advisor who's done it before is going to know that there are different ways, and will be able to talk you through the different ways in which a potential buyer might be looking at your business from the point of view of creating a value in their eyes. I think the bottom line, that the business is only ever worth as much as the buyer will pay. And that may be less than you would like. And if you're lucky, it may be more than you were expecting. So how do you go about valuing a business? Well, there are standard metrics. I'm not going to go through them here because anyone who's going to talk to you about it will talk to you about them. But it could be on turnover, it could be on bottom line, it could be on this magic EBITDA figure, which I had no idea about before we started going into the process. But talking to someone who's done it before will not only enable you to understand the metrics that companies may be using, but in helping you to understand those metrics, can help you to understand how to present the figures that you have in a way which is going to be looked at in the best light by a potential buyer. You may have a business that's worth potentially quite a lot of money, but if you can't present the information to a buyer that he wants to see in order to make the estimation, the valuation, then you're never going to get that value out of it. So changing the way in which you do things as a company, the way in which you present things, some of the reporting that you do can make a big difference to the amount of money that you might get in a potential sale, without actually changing really the basis of what you're doing or the amount of money you're actually making at the time. So having that advice, I think, is a very, very useful thing. Can you get an idea of what that is before you choose your M&A advisor? I think that's probably a little bit too much to hope for. Because if you're in the interview process, if you like, with your M&A advisor, they at that stage don't know you well enough to be able to put a sensible valuation on your company as an individual going concern. They will be able to explain the possibilities, and they will be able to say, yes, if you've got a net profit of X, then you're going to be looking in this range. Is it going to be 4 times your bottom line, your EBITDA? Is it going to be 6, or is it going to be 8, or is it going to be 10? They can give you an idea of the realistic range that you might find yourself in, but that could be quite different from the real potential value of the company, which is only going to come to light when you start with your M&A advisor knowing each other, and they understand to tweak things in order to put it in its best light. And when you start looking at the different potential buyers and how they value the company, is it very much only on the financials, or are they going to add value to it for potential, or are they going to add value to it because, as far as they're concerned, it might be a strategic acquisition which is worth more than it looks like at first sight. And all of these factors will come in some way or another, but none of them, I think, can be properly assessed before you go into a process. It's only during the process that this sort of thing will come to light. Mark, do you think that's right?
No, I absolutely agree. To nail it down to a very tighter range, you won't know till you've gone to market and you've got a feeling from the market. But you can give a fair indication of where you think range will be, is probably where we'll end up.
I think the most important takeaway, though, is never ever to tell a potential buyer what you're expecting to get for your company. As soon as you do that, well, first of all, if you say, I'm expecting to get between £100 and £200, the first thing they're going to hear is £100, and they're not going to think about the 200. And the second thing is, they may have been thinking 300 to 400, and now you've just lost that potential altogether, because they know that they're never going to exceed your expectations because they know where you stand. So never ever, and they will ask, So never ever be pushed into saying, how much do you think your company is worth? That's something which your M&A advisor can deal with and push back. We are waiting at this stage for an offer from the potential buyer because they know they may be bidding against competition. And then we get an idea of how much they're interested really in acquiring your company.